Guys, we're back on the cabinet project, and what I'm doing today is I'm going to cut some 1/4 inch pine to edge band the front edge of my plywood shelves, because the shelves, being raw plywood edge, obviously we don't want to see those when we open our cabinets, so we'll just tack a little face of pine on the front. So I've got my 1/4 inch pusher stick here, and I got the weights dust collector on, saw, sword is on. Oh, I got a few stuff. 1/4 inch, I believe, so we'll cut our shelves just a hair less. We'll cut them 3/8 of an inch too narrow. That'll give us a little leeway. Alright. Love the dust collection. So I need to cut 2 pieces of the 12 inch. I'm going to assemble the other 30 inch upper. Now this one has to be 3/4 of an inch longer than the other one, because again, according to the plan, I'm putting tongue and groove pine on the end of the other one, which I could have left it exposed and built it into the cabinet. It's just much easier to this is the right, okay. And there's the left front. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, yes, okay. Left front, right front. So between these two, we need to make it 29 inches overall, 3/8 of an inch in on each side. So we're actually down to 28 1/4. We need to cut 2 28 1/4. I'll do that on my chop saw. You don't need to watch that. You see me use the chop saw. I'm going to cut the center shelf, the fixed shelf for the one big cabinet, because it's going to be tucked back in the corner. We won't be able to adjust the shelves anyway. Alright, we'll come back and we've got that done. I don't have my lovely assistant nearby, but I have to cut half a sheet here, lengthwise. To 11 1/4 to make the other sides of my cabinets. So I'm going to rip this one twice. I've bought more plywood. This was for the sides. I cut it at 23, but 11 1/4 I won't have any waste. So I'm going to have to jockey this out here, and I got my roller stand set up. Got my outfeed table set up. Dust collection on. I got a roller stand to help you hold the weight. Floor on. I got one more cut to make, but you see how that goes. I got to cut that other one to the right width. Alright, coming over to cut the cabinet ends here. We determined that this was supposed to be 28 1/4. I have my plan here where I already drew out my dimensions. 28 1/4 is right on the money. So, the way I usually do it. Okay, I'm getting the last of this carcass put together on the upper cabinet here, and I need to just glue and screw this. I've got the other 3 corners glued and screwed, so I'm just going to push this out of the way. I'm going to get my glue glue her up, drop her down, and I'm going to be able to push into this to drill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze this. Put it right on that Formica. See, that Formica is nice and flat. And that will hold me, get my first screw in there to position it. Now I know it can't slip. All right, let's flip this guy right up. That's the upright position, by the way. Make sure we hold her down. Now, I don't need to mark for these screw holes because I know exactly where they are. And not getting too close to the edge because I don't want to put a screw through my other, where my other screws go through. You know, like crossing the corners. There's a little something to be aware of. So you don't end up with a collision between two screws, interference or whatever. I got that clutch set so it almost acts like a hammer drill. And I can see that head just slowly sink down as it hammers and just get flush. Okay, so you know what? That's a strong box right there. So we've got this cabinet and that cabinet, and I only have one more for the uppers, which I was thinking I needed to go back to the lake and measure one more time because there's a vent hood there. And where the pipe and the power comes out for that vent hood, I don't want to miss it. And I think that vent hood is up in there quite a way. So I might have to make my upper cabinet smaller than I thought, just so I can get it up in. And so you don't have to duck under it to see the pot in the back. You know, we're tall people. All right, so what I'm going to do is I did yesterday. I'll show you when I'm done. I'm going to run the router around both of these and create my dado, or my rabbet, for the backs. But first, I need to put the shelf in that one. Okay, so how do I measure for that? Well, it should be exactly the same. Top and bottom. So that says 43 9/16. And that says exactly the same. So I want to add 3/4 of an inch because these might be slightly bowed. That says 44 1/4. I don't know. They look dead straight to me, so I'm just going to go by my measurement. 44 1/4. All right. So we'll chop that. I originally cut this wood, this plywood, to the depth. You just saw me do it. To the depth of the full cabinet. Well, because I'm dropping the back in 1/4 inch, and this is going to be the shelf, that will push it forward 1/4 inch, so I have to take 1/4 inch off, and I'm going to add 1/4 inch dress-up bead to the front. I'm going to take an extra 1/8 just to give me flexibility, so I dropped the width of this back to 10 5/8. So, wherever I left my remote. Whenever they say, whenever you build a shop, to make it twice as big as you think you need it, I can attest to that. I'm falling over everything here. That's a nice saw. Brand new toy for Bob. I think what we need to do though is I think we need to put the back in that so I know how far back in to drive it. All right? So I'm going to run the router around those. You saw me do it before. Run the router around the back of both the cabinets. So one of the things I'm doing, what you might find interesting, is I found the radius of the router bit that I cut out the backs of the cabinets with, so that leaves a round corner when you get to the corner. So how do we do that? Well, I actually set up my compass to be the same radius as the router bit. So all I do is I got it here and I strike this way. I strike this way. It makes a spot for my compass point. I go just a little bit inside of that. And I strike my arc. And there's my radius. And so then I just take my disc sander here. Sure. And that's it. No fuss, no muss. And that should fit the back of my cabinet perfectly, which, when we come back, we'll put back in and see if that actually is true. All right. I told you we would do a live test. I have not tested this yet. Make sure that I got the sawdust out of here. Well, I'm going to take this off to glue it anyway. But we'll see if my radius thing and measuring is any good. Bada bing, bada boom, baby! Look at that. There's nothing but a pencil line around here. I'm going to measure corner to corner after I nail one edge to stretch it in, but that's how you fit your back in there tight. Hey, I don't know if it's the right way to do it. It's the way that I'm doing it. I'm figuring it out as I go, just like Indiana Jones would say. All right, so what am I going to do? Put that on. I'm going to get out the nailer. I have my little 16 gauge brad nailer, 18 gauge. I have some short brads. Because the brads are way stronger than the crappy wood. Anyway, so right. I haven't got the compressor turned on yet, so don't worry about me nailing my hand. Line up the brads in here. These are only like 5/8 brads, but that'll be perfect for what we're doing. I'm going to go turn the compressor on, which actually I have it on my circuit breaker panel over here. It's going to be loud a little bit. While that's buzzing up, I hear my start to work. So the air compressor's still going. All right, she just quit. I decided I liked this side better. Had to rack it just a little bit to get it to drop in. So we'll measure that after I nail the top. Of course, this will add incredible structural strength. One was a little deep. square as I can get it anyway. Oh yeah, perfect. I'm loving it, as they say at McDonald's. Now, we want to fit our shelf in there. I'm not going to glue the shelf. It's just, it doesn't need that. I'm going to put this side down because this is a high cabinet. So, alright, I got a leather mallet here, a rawhide mallet. And make a couple of screws in each end. And then what I'll do is I'll strike a line across the back and we'll put a couple of screws in the back that'll be more than enough support to sag it. This is going to get a partial front on it because this is tucking behind some other cabinets. So I'm going to make the door fold like this so that, because this is kind of going to be beside the refrigerator. I get it, even if you don't. Alright, so, I don't know. You've probably seen me do stuff like this before. You want to make a quick mark. Find the center like this. And you just slide, using your finger as a guide on the end. It's different up here, so. I'm just going to put 3 screws in each one of these ends. Ba-da-da-ba-da-da. Oh, was I doing Super Mario Brothers there or what? There's the 1 5/8". I'm using these construction screws, as I said before. I think they certainly drive better. I think you could park a Mack truck on this cabinet now. What do you think, guys? All right. We're going to take a break for now. Okay, so I just put 4 screws across the back to tie the back into the shelf. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got. Alright, so this is the biggest upper cabinet. It is, I got, oh, I know, I'll put the front on that. But I had to show some screws on the inside to attach the hanger. I don't care. We're going to be doing face frames for these pretty soon. As soon as I figure out. I make these long enough. Oh yeah, okay, they're just long enough. Shut up. It's a little bit longer. I'll just sand that down a little bit. Make it fit. These need a little sanding anyway. This was just an old scrap of pine I have around here. I was actually making steaks for my wife's tomato plants. Oh, come on. One more little shave here. She'll fit now, I hope. Alright. So I'm going to sand on this with the sander a little bit first, and then we'll put it on. Alright, so I made it back. I just nipped those edges a little bit on my belt sander, actually. Or I mean, I have a little 8-inch disc sander over there. So, and I sanded it with that orbital a little bit. Make it look all nice. And that's all I'm going to do to dress up the front of that shelf. And I'm just going to put a few brads in. This is the end that doesn't show anyway. Got a jam. Dang! Alright, I'll be back when I get the jam out. Alright, so we're back. Let's see if we can improve on our goof up here. I don't know why I'm soft shooting this thing for some darn reason. These are just pretty much there. Pull it until the glue sets, you know. And that's how you dress up the front of a raw edge of plywood. These are going to be covered with the face frame. And that's it. This carcass is done. Building the face frame for it. I should get my wife out here and start finishing these before we're... Alright guys and gals, here we are. This is one of the upper 30-inch cabinets. I already did build the face frame. And pocket screwed it on with a little glue because I kind of wanted to do that off camera so I could make sure it was all going to work out right. And so here we have a cabinet box. It's ready for finishing, and I have to make the doors for it. But other than that, she is ready to go in the camp. So I'll show you how we put this frame on. My lovely assistant is with me today too. Alright, first we have to just take all the parts for the face frame. Now the face frame, the 30-inch portion of it is the vertical stiles, and then the rails have to be 4 inches shorter to do the overall cabinet width. Now all I'm going to do right now off camera, so you don't have to watch, is just sand them all down with my orbital sander, and then we'll go to making, we're going to put pocket screws in them and put them together. Alright, so to keep these flush and square and aligned, I've drilled my pocket holes in my stiles and rails here. Now see, why is it? That's one of the reasons this thing is thicker on that side. Huh. Some of this wood came right out of the same board. Thanks Home Depot for such fine products. Alright, well let's now I'm going to put something in there, and I'm just going to put a little plastic in. So I'm trying to put my glue, make sure we're zoomed in on this, yep. Put my glue near the back so it doesn't ooze out the front so much. Because we're putting screws in this too, remember. They're just that much, you know. And I marked my stiles with a B at each end that I wanted to go towards the back. Now this here fancy little clamp that I got from Craig to line this mess all up. Put that plastic in there to keep it flush with the front. I'm hoping that's working. Got my ends aligned nice and square. Got them in front of you. You gotta be careful with this pine, you'll rip those screws right through. Alright, there's one corner. Let's see how we can keep it flush. Oh yeah, much better. So there we go, we got our first corner assembled. Let's rotate our plywood here. Our plywood is huge. And, do the same thing. Now these are a little bit closer in dimensions, so I'm not going to worry too much about that skipping around. Put my glue near the back. And you want to press it out just a little bit. I got a rag over here. You don't have to worry about too much about pressing them together because the screws will pull it in just fine. Now I biased it this way to push that one closer to the front, harder to the front. Make sure that's nicely aligned, which it is. And that's it. We get this done, I'll show you how we attach it to the frame. Alright, so I got my face frame laid down for this odd cabinet. It's going to hang off here 3/4 of an inch. I've got a glue bead where the face of the cabinet is going to rest. And me and the lovely assistant are going to place it on the face frame, face down. Jojo's going to get just a hair on this edge. Hey, I think we did all right, didn't we? All right, so now we just put a few pocket screws in it. That glue, believe it or not, starts to tack that down very quickly. So I get these two corners secured. She's going to go nowhere. I'm going to get this upper one over here done. I'm putting this on clean cardboard so it doesn't mar up nothing. Boy, everything turned out perfectly square. Of course, it pretty much does when you do that. Those square face frames on chop saw and all that. So now we just finish screwing her together. I'll put a few more screws in and then we'll come back and show you the bigger deal, alright? Again, don't drive these too hard into the pine, you'll just strip it. Alright. The face frame is all screwed on. Let's take a look and see what we got. Nice. I wanted some knottiness. This wood that I got didn't have that many knots in it. So these are going to be the two uppers, which I have the 1/30-inch upper over there. This is the one that I left 3/4 of an inch so I can put the tongue and groove, because that's exposed to the room. Tongue and groove pine on that. The doors are going to be tongue and groove pine. And I drilled all the holes inside, which you saw me do earlier, for the adjustable shelves. So I'm doing that on all the cabinets that are tall enough to have movable shelves, which is most of them. Alright, that's it for now on this one. Alright, so here we are. Here's where we're at with the cabinet project. Now this is the one that goes in the corner with the other 12-inch cabinet coming out towards us. And I'm going to have to fill this in with some knotty pine because it's only 16 inches, and so the knotty pine will be here. So I figured I'd just fill the whole thing in. This is the one that's going to have the bifold door that comes like this because of the refrigerator. There's the odd one with the 3/4-inch overhang for exposure to the kitchen side, and there's the one that goes beside that to the right of that last cabinet. And I haven't decided on the size of how deep I need to make, or how high I need to make the cabinet over the stove for the vent hood. So we're going to go up and remeasure. There's half of the base cabinet for the sink. There's the other half. I got it cut in half. So that's where we are. I got a huge amount of video here to show us, so I'm going to have to go in and edit and show you where we're at. All right, God bless. Take care. We'll see you next time.